Hey everybody, we're about halfway done with the season. Hope everyone's having fun out there. And so here we are, training video number 5. There's a few plays. We're going to talk swinging gait, a little more about false start, pass interference, and some positioning. Um, I'll introduce everyone this way just so we're always clear, not out to embarrass any individual, crew, association, team, or player. Doing this to get better. So let's take a look. So let's talk about a swinging gait. Here's an example of one here, and this is one where referees in your pregame, you should be asking each coach whether they do a swinging gait. If the answer is yes, ask them to describe it to you and make sure it's illegal, because a lot of coaches might dream some up that are not. So you want to check that in the pregame, and that way you'll be also pretty well prepared for it, or at least as well prepared as you can, because everyone runs it a little different. It's a challenging play. So there's also two different kinds. Our mechanics book talks about on page 113 for a 5-person crew and page 120 for a 4-person crew how to line up if there's a kicker and holder in position to kick. And that's not what we have here. And so basically, this is not a scrimmage kick formation by Rule 2:14.2. And therefore, you're allowed no numbering exceptions. Now, we can't read the numbers on this film, but for the purposes of this play, we'll assume that all the linemen on the left side are all numbered 50 through 79, and everyone else has an eligible number. I'll also note that for this play, there are only 10 players on the field for the offense, but there's only 4 in the backfield. So thanks to our rule change that changed it from needing 7 on line to no more than 4 in the backfield, this is a legal formation. So, and notice the snapper, he's got one hand on the ball, and that's okay. And the snap just has to be one continuous motion. And let's see what it looks like here. Okay, so that's what he does. He just flips it one continuous motion. That's a legal snap. And you could look at Rule 2-40. It's a legal snap. Take one more look at that. Okay, one continuous motion. Now, let's talk positioning here. In a 5-person crew, and I'll talk 4 in a minute, 5-person crew, umpire wants you wider so that you're with that gate, with those numbers 50 through 79. One, verify they are 50 through 79. I think it's probably tough for the wing official to know from their angle. But then, and most of the time they're not doing much, but you never know. And those are your guys. So let's move the umpire wide. The back judge can take the snapper. The snapper is on the end of the line, as they usually are, and eligible. So, and then the other wings, the line judge and the headlines, can then take the other eligibles on their sides. Referee, I'd rather you were lined up a little wider here. Let's treat this like a scrimmage play so that you have a good angle on your quarterback because, and in this case, they do throw it. I want you to have a better angle in case there's a rush or a hit on the quarterback. So let's let it roll. Okay, pretty simple play. They do end up throwing it to the snapper, and it's pretty well defended. And the back judge has a great view of it. In fact, back judge, good job. I could see you getting in a set position there and really concentrating. That's good work. Referee, one comment here. You're clearly looking at the action. You give a pretty quick incomplete. Don't do that. Take care of your quarterback first, and when there's nothing happening, you can see these two players on the 10-yard line are kind of wrestling with each other. I want your eyes on that after the play. We got 2 wings and a back judge, and even an umpire in this case, to help rule on the incomplete pass. We don't need extra eyes there. So these are unusual plays. Let's just run through the whole thing one last time, get a feel for it. Oftentimes, I think we get ourselves out of position and aren't mentally prepared because they happen so infrequently and they're all so different. So let's just slow down, get ourselves positioned right, and think about our mechanics. And now in a 4-person crew, we don't have the luxury of having the back judge. And since the 5 guys numbered 50 through 79 usually don't do much on these plays, umpire line up as a back judge. And it actually does mimic our 4-person crew mechanics for a swinging gate. If the kicker and holder are in place, the umpire is actually behind the upright. So 4-person crew, swinging gate, umpire, just put yourself where the back judge was, and then that way you can rule on the snapper. And, the wing closest to the five guys 50 through 79 can rule on anything funny that happens there. We're definitely going to give something up, but let's focus on where the action probably will be. One last note here, if they shift out of that swinging gate formation and actually into an actual scrimmage kick formation, umpire, you're gonna have to hustle a little bit. We want to get you in a five-person crew. We want to get you behind those goalposts. You should be able to. The team shifts. They usually take a moment or two. The kicker and holder have to get into place. That's what we'd like to. That's what we would like to have happen. And note when they're shifting, since the center already has his hands on the ball, he can't let go. So if they're going to maintain that formation, they have to form it around him. Just other things to consider as we go through these difficult plays. Okay, we talked previously about false starts, and basically if there's action at the snap that the offense is clearly intending to cause B to encroach, or they're doing anything to simulate action at the snap, Rule 717, then we should shut this down for a false start. Now here's an example. Okay, looks like encroachment, but take another look at the player in motion here that becomes part of the shield, and look at what he does. Right there, quick, abrupt motion that serves no purpose. The only thing I could think of is it's designed to have somebody jump, and they do. And so on this play, that is a false start. Let's penalize the offense and not the defense. Let's talk positioning. Referees, our book says to be 12 to 15 yards deep and wider than the tight end. My personal preference is to be on the deeper end of that range, 14 or 15, but no more. Then I think we're just a little bit too far away to be effective. And this referee here, the ball snapped at around the 17-yard line. He's a yard or two into the end zone, so that's 18 or 19 deep. That's too far. We want to be 12 to 15 and be a little bit wider. It looks like, again, the referee, it's close. I think he looks like he's lined up around where the tackle is. Just be a little wider. It gives you a better angle to your opposite tackle, your quarterback and backs, and have them all in your field of vision. Umpires, 5 to 7 yards deep, and this umpire is maybe a hair on the deeper side, but close. Umpires also, remember, we want to vary our position throughout the game so the offense can't figure out where you're going to be every play and make it predictable and start using you. I do like the end of this play. You see it's a bit of a stack up, and I like the umpire moving in there. It looks good. Let's get into that action, get into that pile. Hopefully you're using your voice. I'm sure you are. The wing gives a good progress spot and comes in with his arm raised. This just looks really sharp. Nice job by this crew. But referee also, because you're so deep, it just takes you a little bit longer to get to that pile. So one last thing on here, and anytime you're going to be a yard deep in the end zone, I just recommend starting on the goal line itself. That goal line is important. Isn't going to be threatened too often when the ball's at around the 15, but you never know. So better to start on it so that you don't have to find it later. Okay, so here's a play where we're going to have a pass into the end zone. First thing I want to point out is umpire depth is good. And I know that we talk in our mechanics manual, it talks about being diagonal from the referee is okay, but I think a preferred position would be at least between the tackles and not outside the tackle here. I think it would be pretty difficult for you to do your job and take that line from that angle. So I'd be, and you make a move here towards the center as the ball's being snapped a little bit. And so here we have a pass play into the end zone. And at first blush, there's some contact. We have a guy not playing the ball. So let's talk about that. So first off, good job by the wing official here, getting in position and making a nice incomplete ruling. Let's back it up again. So pass interference. So the rule book, and it's in it's rule 7.5.10. It is forward pass interference if you interfere with an eligible opponent's opportunity to move toward, catch, or bat the pass. Move toward, catch, or bat the pass. Well, in this case, the receiver's ability to move towards it is not inhibited at all. And I actually don't believe his ability to catch it is either, not illegally at least. I think the defender maybe gets a little lucky, but I think he's mainly contacting arms after. It's hard to tell, but some of the ball make it incomplete. I think this is just a really good, if not just a little lucky defensive play. I think this is a really good no call, and I think a lot of people might get fooled by this on the field. Remember, we don't have face guarding anymore, and so simply waving your arms up there is not a foul. I think that's a really good job, and certainly that wing official had an excellent look at it. Great position. One thing here I will say, back judge, I think you could do a little more here. So if I think you can also help rule on the incomplete pass, but if you're not going to, at least be killing the clock. That's a good thing to do as a member of the crew. Help the as a back judge, it's easy to get lost back there sometimes, and I think if we just be a little bit more engaged. Last thing here, wing, maybe stick with the players just a little longer. Right there, you turn your back. I would make sure we want to make sure people are there with the players, and I don't know exactly what happens here. The film doesn't keep rolling, but they're high-fiving over his head. Let's just make sure nothing dumb happens. That's it for this week. Clark Sanders used to remind us all every year that as the season gets closer towards the end, the games get more intense, more meaningful. Playoffs are on the line, so everybody, let's give our best effort out there. Good luck this week.